GGS is a pretty good team right now. I think Froggen is just looking pretty strong every time he's playing his like pocket picks or whatever. Like he has so many different picks that nobody else plays, so definitely something to look out for. And I think FBI is like very good mechanics, so going up against GGS will be definitely not easy.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us as we gear up for Cloud9 versus Golden Guardians. We're going to turn to the starting lineup. Selecting blue side is Cloud9 with Licorice in the top lane, Svenskeren in the jungle, Nisqy in mid, Deftly starting again in the bottom lane with support Zeyzal and coaches Reaper and Rapid Star.
And facing them on the red side today, it's going to be the Golden Guardians. In the top lane, Hauntzer, and the jungle, Contractz. Mid laner, Froggen. Bot and support will be FBI and huhi, with coaches Jimmy and an Arrow.
So a playoff spot is on the line for Golden Guardians, and they have the tough task of trying to keep up against Cloud9.
Yeah, I mean, they're one game ahead of 7th right now, but an upset over Cloud9 doesn't just give them hope for securing that postseason spot. It can be a huge confidence boost going towards playoffs, and it would also lock Cloud9 out of a bye.
Yeah, it actually means there's a good chance you just play them again in the quarterfinals and then maybe beat them if you play it well again, once again. C9, of course, are starting Deftly this weekend, which is a shock to many, but it's what the choice they're making.
I mean, they're racing CLG for a playoff bye. CLG just won, so Cloud9 would need to go 2-0 this weekend to even stand a chance.
Yeah.
And to me, that says the Cloud9 believes Deftly is their best chance at winning these games, best chance at going to the playoffs with a bye, because there's no time to mess around in Week 9. And this is a reminder that Deftly was traded at the deadline of this split from Golden Guardians, so he has a chance to stop his old team's playoff push.
And speaking of old teams and playoff pushes, CLG fans are going to be rooting for huhi here, the GGS support, as you had mentioned. If C9 drops, CLG locks. They guarantee top 2 and a spot in the semifinal. So Counterlogic Gaming fans are rooting for Golden Guardians. CLG haters and C9 fans are rooting for C9. And of course, if they're your teams, of course, root for them. But we've moved on from the point now as we are into the banning phase. As Corki and even Anivia, we heard Svenskeren talk about it. They're champions that only Froggen plays, and that frozen chicken is one of them.
Certainly is. Vel'Koz, yes, some other people play it, but he has actually been playing it a lot. Vel'Koz is actually Froggen's most played thus far this split. He has brought out Talon, he has brought out Karthus, he has brought out a number of different champions, but tons of focus on Froggen. Triple ban against Froggen here in Phase 1 from Cloud9, so very clear who they think the biggest threat is on Golden Guardians, at least in the pick and ban.
Well, they've dropped all 3 of his most played champions. Actually, sorry, we'll go down to Vel'Koz. Yeah, that's the one I missed. Sorry, that one's still up, so we'll see if Cloud9 have a counter pick for it at some point, but keep in mind, GGS on red can guarantee that they can secure it into a good matchup by waiting to see what C9 plays. So yeah, that is one thing to watch for.
I mean, it's really one of these situations too, where if you're Froggen, do you now, if you were going to save your pick for last, not do that? Because then there's the potential of 2 more additional mid lane bans going your way and kind of, thinning out your preferred champions so much that maybe it's not going to be as good of a matchup as you'd hope. But yeah, Vel'Koz available. He still has 2 plays on Aurelia, so that would be another one for him. It does get down to just 1 play for all the champions below that, but Froggen certainly does have a very big champion pool, and Tristana gets locked, so...
And it's a flex pick.
Exactly. Yeah, you can legitimately say that. This was played by Hauntzer last time. I am guessing it is going top, but we do not know that, and neither does Cloud9.
Yeah, you can only guess. Tristana now a top laner in this world. I do want to point out for
could
those
even be mid.
Yeah, could even be mid. You never know. Mid Trist used to be a thing back in the day. Shout out Voyboy. And I do want to point out, by the way, 914, this is post-patch Akali. The W is only invisibility. That means if you play a Morgana or a LeBlanc or any other Invis revealing champion, it worked through the Shroud. You can punch her down early on. That's part of the TF ban, by the way. The ult works against invisibility, so strong to keep Akali safe. And we'll see if it's Nisqy, who's been, I think, very good this summer split, or Licorice, who's been very good for the last year and a half on that champion.
Well, Rakan getting locked in will just be the Xayah Rakan duo. So Cloud9 locking in a very strong bottom lane. Tahm Kench is already available kind of as an answer to this Rakan. Can be pretty effective unless you can get both the Tahm Kench and the Marksman in that same knockup from Rakan. Zilean, I think, would be a pretty solid pick here. If you're going to be going with Tristana, whether that's played top, bot, doesn't really matter. You get to the late game, you want to be able to kind of buff up and support this Tristana. So I think Zilean makes a lot of sense. Strong wave clear, but it will be the Jarvan. So they're going to go for their jungle pick. Sejuani's already taken off the table, so is Sylas. So they already had 2 jungle bans targeted at Svenskeren. Now you can throw a couple more Svenskeren's way and try to push him down that priority list a little bit more.
Definitely meaningful here. Rek'Sai, Lee Sin, Gragas, the only thing that's more than one play so far this split. And I think a lot of those are not really played much anymore, but there is that Gragas, for example. Lee Sin getting buffed in the next patch. We'll see that in the playoffs, not here in this one.
I also think it makes sense when Cloud9 just like to play Gragas Yasuo, right? And you could definitely play that in this comp. You already have one knockup with the Rakan, so making that a little bit more difficult if they were hoping to go for that combo as their last phase here. Sona going to be taken off the table, so concerned about the possible Sona Tahm Kench bottom lane, because remember Tristana can be going top, so they are going to be focusing potential bot lane picks. Lee Sin will also be taken off the table, so still lots of options for Svenskeren, but most of his more popular ones have been taken away. Rek'Sai, he has 2 picks on. He did play a Trundle game. He did play a Hecarim game. There's still things like Olaf. So there are options out there, but he's definitely pushed pretty far down in priority compared to the J4.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised to even just see a Skarner. I think Skarner is quite strong, though he hasn't been playing it a lot.
I think he's a great champion. And we're going to see now what comes through as GGS need to pick themselves a couple more champs, as they need to see their solo lanes, because that Tristana is flexible. We need a mid laner at least, and a top or bot lane, and looks like Viktor will be the hover. And I want to point out that Viktor, of course, has been played in 3 roles, so we can still wait to see where that one goes.
Yeah, so definitely kind of leaving it down to the wire. My only concern sometimes with drafts like this, and what the Golden Guardians are doing, is do you get a little bit too clever and then not end up with super strong lane matchups, right? You are still hoping on red side that you have counter picks, and if you don't end up with those counter picks and you don't end up with solo lane advantages, then even if they don't know where it goes, it doesn't really matter, right? And Cloud9 are drafting some very strong, stable laners. The Akali, Aatrox likely going to get locked in here as well, so they have their solo lanes locked in, and we'll have to see where Golden Guardians thinks the matchups will be best. I could see Tristana doing fine into Aatrox. Certainly, you potential to push in and kind of be aggressive there. But if Xin gets locked in, that makes it much more scary for Tristana top, because if Tristana is pushing, you can get punished so heavily. The third hit of that Q can actually knock you out of your rocket jump if you time that well.
So you gotta jump early every time.
Yep, so that can make it really hard. Then flash follows are difficult. So we'll see how they actually want to play this out.
Yeah,
it is a very early game focus, it feels like, for Cloud9 though.
And they're going to round things out with Karma in here, and that's likely to be, well, if you're reckless...
It's FBI.
Yeah, if you're reckless, it's a bot laner right there. But in North America, Karma's been almost exclusively a top laner here. So I think this is the lineup. I think this is where the champions go for GGS.
I think so too.
But we can take the last 25 seconds to see for sure what it is. But this is, I believe, the way the 5 are being set up right there. Licorice going to be on the Aatrox. Nisqy going to be on the Akali. So you've got a very melee-heavy, very aggressive team for C9. The only wave we've got is definitely Xayah, and that's only so good at that. As we move things around some more and some more, you've got to make sure, if you know where the Karma and Viktor are going, keep in mind, Karma is one of those champions. Karma is one of those that reveals invisibility with the tether. So Karma chasing the Akali is a really good matchup. Karma goes in the mid lane here for this, for the matchup specifically to reveal her through the invis, and Viktor in the bot lane for FBI.
Yeah, and it gives you a very safe, stable mid laner who can be, pushing in the Akali, giving you lane priority there. This allows also, I do think that, Contractz can play more towards top side. You have a very defensive bottom lane with the Tahm Kench. You have strong wave clear here from FBI once you get some levels and items with the E. So, they're going to be able to try to play stable on the bot side, while Hauntzer, has the backup of this Jarvan, because he is going to need that to be able to push and play this lane effectively. Certainly could be vulnerable if he's pushing in, and it is going to be Electrocute Aatrox and Hail of Blades Xin. So this is early power with those runes, and certainly if Hauntzer on this Tristana makes any misstep, he could get punished hard.
I'm going to be really excited watching the top lane fight play out, because there's so many potential knockups to ruin the rocket jump. Aatrox has 4, Zhao has 2. It's going to be exciting.
Let me point this out. Spell Thief's Viktor. So they are just playing this basically like you play Sona Tahm Kench. So it's actually going to be huhi farming while FBI will be doing the harassment until he fully stacks the Spell Thief. So this is really interesting. If you can get that early Spell Thieves, then you start farming, then you start really kind of going well in that regard. But it will delay the Hex Core upgrade quite a bit. And your wave clear isn't really super strong until you've actually upgraded your laser. So we'll have to see if this can maintain that same level of power.
Well, GGS have an interesting draft here. We've got Ovly standing by with an arrow for a word on this game.
Thanks, guys. Inero, exciting game, especially in the bot lane. We have FBI bot laner for Golden Guardians going against Deftly, the person that he replaced. And in this game, I see it as one that he's trying to prove himself. So from your perspective, what does this game mean to FBI?
I mean, he definitely has a lot of respect for Deftly. I worked with both of them in academy, and that's like all my experience with them. I know he always kind of had good things to say. So this is kind of a good chance for him to prove himself a bit, but he's kind of been trying to do that for the past few weeks anyways. I think the game versus Doublelift was like a really huge wake-up call for him already. So this is just kind of like the nice one for him, that he gets to play against the person he basically competed against for the spot. And I'm sure like winning it will feel really good for him.
And you know these two bot laners inside and out, so how do you see this lane going this game?
Yeah, we played this one a few times. I'm not really sure how the lane will go overall. It's kind of been a back and forth one from scrims, but I mean, Viktor likes it a lot. The champion literally has the exact same name as him, which has been a funny meme for us internally. But yeah, it's gotten pretty good results in scrims. I know the LCS team likes it. It's something we played in academy for a bit too. So I don't know. It'll at least be fun to watch, I hope.
Excited to see it. Best of luck to you. Back to you guys.
Best luck to Golden Guardians now, seeing that Svenskeren is killing the ward down there, and they have to play under their turret for a little while because that dive could be scary.
Yeah, they're actually going to push in, and he's going to go to his opponent's blue buff. You know, this red buff Xin is so strong early on in the game, especially with Halo Blades. Contractz really cannot fight him. So as long as your lanes are pushing and you have that potential assistance, this is going to look good for them. So they know he's around there. Contractz is not even going to bother checking because he knows the potential that Xin has in this 1v1.
Yeah, it's likely he saw him go over there too with the ward he put down in the river. So sensing it out. Of course, they even saw him clear the ward in the river itself. Yeah. So he knows it's happening. He's like, yep, that's yours. That's the matchup. That's yours. Goodbye. Took the wolves away. Svenskeren can't steal those, but he'll get Gromp. So 2 camps taken, and we'll see if there's ever an answer for Contractz taking the Western jungle.
Yeah, exactly. That's really the question, is can he actually get over to that side of the map? Because right now, he has no pushing lanes. Contractz, you know, as you can see, Nisqy actually pushed in Froggen. Hauntzer, you know, is kind of neutral or back. So Svenskeren doesn't know where Contractz is right now, but if Svenskeren just ran straight to his blue buff, he would complete the 3 buff and be able to farm that quadrant of the map as well, which would give him a huge lead. You know, thankfully for Contractz, Svenskeren isn't yet aware, but it's kind of, you're trying to anticipate what your opponent is doing, and Contractz is just actually going to base, assuming that Svenskeren is there. So, you know, certainly getting by far the worst end of this start. Contractz goes back to base, and he will have 2 camps less to farm.
Unless he can get back down there, of course, Hauntzer is going to try to give him a little bit of space here. He's rushed the red smite to try to have a better chance than 1v1, and as the Scry's Bloom pops, he's like, okay, hey, these camps are all up right now, by the way. Camps are up, so maybe you get a chance for this one, but now there's a fight in the bottom side. Huhi taking a little bit of damage. FBI helping out with that one as well, as Deftly takes a few shots. You got Svenskeren, though, still on the bottom side, takes the scuttle, and they don't know he's here this time around. There's no ward to spot this one. Svenskeren knows no ward came in the brush because he had a zombie ward there the whole time. So here comes the attempted gank. Huhi gonna take some damage. Knockup's coming across. A lot of damage. He's got to flash away and barely will regen back up. But that is a summoner spell down. Both gone for Huhi.
Yeah, so Svenskeren just prioritizing the pressure over the farm instead of going back up to that top side and trying to take a CS advantage. He goes for another gank here on the bot side. Is rewarded with both summoners being taken off Huhi. So, you know, I do think this is a totally reasonable choice, especially given that he is playing such a powerful early game champion. You want to be active, you want to be making things happen, and not just kind of allowing Jarvan to trade farm in comfort. But that being said, you know, he did miss an opportunity to get very far ahead in experience.
And maybe so, but FBI and Zeyzal and co still fighting back and forth pretty constantly. You've got Huhi down 20 to 33 in farm, so that is, of course, a bit of a difficult matchup. Xayah Rakan very good at bullying melee last hits as FBI keeps him to stack up for gold.
Yeah, and FBI will be working pretty quickly towards that. He's done a good job, honestly, you know, proccing the Spell Thieves thus far. We can see that Zeyzal is actually playing coin. This is something we talked about last game. You know, it means that there's not as much pressure to actually be constantly poking, constantly getting that harassment down. So if you think you're going to take the worst end of the trades, you just pick up the coin gold. It's very consistent, and you'll always have that strong income from it.
And you get a lot of mana. So you can actually spam actually quite a lot and put consistent shields and poke down. So it even can be, in some cases, the better lane bully item. Regardless, though, Cloud9 pushing right back down after this Scuttle Crab despawns. Huhi, though, has to be careful. Almost knocked up, but gets the ward done in time. And here's FBI's TP. Now, we know that there's no knockup left for Zeyzal, so that's going to be safe down here. Svenskeren, though, getting around 2 on these wolves. Knew the timer and takes down 2 of them with his own trinket ward coming down to help track the opposing jungler. He's really making sure that Contractz cannot get down to this bottom side.
Yeah, playing very heavily around that. You can see a lot of wards in that area from Cloud9 as well. This is a pushing lane here from Golden Guardians. I think he's actually looking for a Blast Cone gank if they push forward. That would be my assumption of where he is. We don't actually have vision on that right
he's in
now.
that bucket of fog right behind that wall. He can EQ. He's going to flash, actually. Flash for the flash list. That's going to be a kill easily. First blood comes through. They mitigate the summoner, and they know it works out. First blood, C9.
What a gank. Just flashes straight over the wall. Screw the blast cone coming in right behind huhi there, who had no flash, and they get that kill, and it goes to Svenskeren. So he has the first blood now on this early game jungler, and this is very intelligent. There's just no way, really, for huhi to escape. You have Hail Blades, you flash straight over the wall, they land the knock-up. huhi knows he's dead to rights. He does have Spellbook, so was able to just TP right back to lane. But even so, Svenskeren being very proactive in this early game. Contractz, so quietly, farming up, is going to be going tank and, is ahead now in experience because all this time that Svenskeren has been spending trying to get pressure on the bot side, he's just been clearing camps.
And gold between the junglers is within 100.
Yeah.
Of course, 400 gold for first blood is quite a lot, but keeping it close is Contractz. Overall game is actually GGS favored in income. So that, of course, is the extra money that huhi prints by getting the upgraded support item. He's sharing a lot of that CS gold.
And topside, right? Hauntzer has just been pushing in. This has not been visited whatsoever. So, if you're left alone, if Contractz is protecting you enough and getting you vision and Svenskeren is not ganking you, the Trist can just constantly push in. There's not a lot of kind of recourse to that for Licorice unless the Tristana makes a serious misstep. So Hauntzer will just constantly push in. You will miss some of the CS to the turret.
Yep.
And Hauntzer will continue to kind of extend that advantage. You can see he's gone for the early upgraded attack speed boots.
Yeah.
Having the additional move speed, I think, is actually quite important in this solo lane. And if you do get access to that turret, attack speed's pretty nice there too.
Definitely really good stuff right there. As again, the jungle spot over
Svenskeren.
Steals another blue, but has to run away from Contractz. Finds a slow, finds a red, and they're going to keep hitting blows back and forth. Damage towards Zeyzal. Staying alive, though. Svenskeren a bit low, though. Half HP into him. Restless spot coming over there. The duck comes in. Contractz finds the first kill. Now you got to watch for the Akali. Diving in the back line. Almost to the FBI. Second E will almost be enough damage. Flashes claims the kill. Nisqy, though. Oh my word! But huhi does claim that kill. Hauntzer jumping forward. Finds the kill. Finds the reset. On to Nisqy. No way out for the bird, and that's going to be a kill picked up. He goes down. It's time for Hauntzer to find a bit more. Sorry, Licorice now, as he's running away, flashing into the turret. Hauntzer still pushing him out for this one, and Froggen overstepping just a little bit. A close fight, but GGS coming out ahead.
Yeah, Golden Guardians getting 4 kills there. With all teleports being used down to that bottom lane, Golden Guardians come out definitely ahead, especially with 2 kills going on your Tristana. That is so good for them. So here it is again. This experience advantage coming through. Svenskeren saves the third hit of that Q for the knockup after Contractz goes in for the flag and drag. But Contractz still has his ultimate. Nisqy arrives, lands a stun on multiple members there, but not quite able to take down FBIs. Look at the R2 actually missed on FBI, which meant he needed to kind of chase additionally for this. The blast cone was great, but there are members waiting. huhi takes him down, and then is a full-on retreat as Licorice honestly arrived to this fight quite late in it and, wasn't able to have that big of an effect. Does clean up the kill on huhi, but then is a full-on retreat as it is that 3v1.
Well, a great fight right there, and you can see, yes, a lot out of this one. As now there's a knockup towards FBI, as huhi tries to break him to safety, but knockup will still chase through. A nice engage right there, and a really good ultimate, but huhi's still able to flash and walk to safety.
That was actually so well handled by Zeyzal and Svenskeren. Svenskeren, getting the initial charge over onto the support, saving the knockup for another member, then actually, knocks off his debuff so he can ult huhi back as well. Like, that was just really well bounced back and forth, utilizing his passive as well as that knockup very well. And they do get the kill.
Knows Nisqy's there. Looked like he wants to bait him and goes to the knockup. That was a nice play. Red buff comes in. Red smite, I should say, but he's still burning him down. Nisqy forced to run away from the opposing jungler. Big damage and Contractz. Oh, the burn is not enough. Red smite timed out, but still almost the kill.
Yeah, it does get him very low. Now Zeyzal taking a lot of damage here on this bottom side.
That's an important route, though. huhi was very close to getting that conversion right there and finding a bit of a devour. Now Froggen has to be careful. He's pushing Licorice away, and he's just not allowed to farm in his own lane at all.
Yeah.
Jungler and mid laner pushing him away.
Yeah, I mean, this is very concerning. Contractz comes up there, pushes out Nisqy. Froggen joins in, so Froggen will get the blue buff. You're pushed off your turret, so Hauntzer on that TP got 2 kills. Now he's cashing in on his 3rd turret play, but C9 have to try to answer here on the bottom side because they're losing top hard.
The root, a lot of damage to huhi running away, just staying alive right there. And this split map is been really exciting. It feels like the Viktor and Tahm Kench that withstanding the pressure better than Licorice can in Aatrox versus Tristana.
Yeah, I mean, it's going so much better for Golden Guardians, honestly. Like, look at the gold on Hauntzer.
50% more.
Yeah, Hauntzer is just so far ahead. And he's playing the hyper-scaling champion. And it's not like it's just a Karma that has no protection. When you get to late game teamfights, there's Tahm Kench as well as a mid lane Karma who are going to be buffing you up and protecting you. So this comp is actually, despite the fact that it's kind of tricking you into thinking it's more about this bot lane 2v2, it's actually there to be built around Hauntzer for the later game stages. And that is where he's going to be so happy about all this early game gold he has picked up. I mean, he is very close to actually just getting straight up first tower.
Really close to that one. 2.5 to go until the last plates drop, and it feels like number 5 is gonna be Hauntzer's here. You have to expect. Zhao, though. Svenskeren is heading towards the top side. A quick trinket ward down, a couple other wards from the team helping to spot this entire northern river.
Contractz also has the Rift Herald, so more turret plates to be cashed in on there if he does elect to drop it. But Hauntzer with a lot of golds in his pocket, going to be going back to base, should have the Blade of the Rune King. Blade of the Rune King, attack speed boots, has PTA, so going to be able to proc that very quickly. And it makes it so that even if you do get hit by a Q here or there from Licorice, the sustain is more than enough to actually deal with that. The dueling potential pretty nice too, so it's going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for Licorice in this 1v1.
All right, looking at a tongue lash, not going to land that one there as they keep trading blows down to the bottom side. Farm lead starts to lie to you now in the bottom lane as they've switched roles, as it's now FBI's turn to get most of the farm. FBI will grab what he can. And huhi will take stuff when he has the stacks to use on the more expensive minions.
Yeah, still thus far, Cloud9 do enjoy a little bit of a gold lead down there, but the gold lead on the bot side is not as big as that on the top side, and it's now going to start really ramping up here for FBI. Now that he can be farming, and he has all the gold generation unlocked from his Frostfang. huhi has the Face of the Mountain as well, so going to be getting tons of gold. Kind of coming in there. Excuse me, Face of the Mountain. That's so old. Aspect.
But that's a good throwback. Honestly. Yeah, overall bot lane support plus carry combined is only about 300 gold difference right now. Not going to be found on a 2 right here as he wants to at least buy the space. Charms them, looking for now some roots as well as huhi might not find the way out. A lot of damage coming as Nisqy finds himself the first FBI just barely staying alive. Finally claims that first kill. And the rest of the team coming around now. The dunk put him into turret range. It's 1-for-1 so far as the turret does fall on the top side. And now Svenskeren forced to flash away as well as slow the rest of the team's going to come over. Froggen shows up, but it's after the team is already disengaged. Yeah,
Nisqy has been mis-executing, honestly, a lot in these fights, but they're going to engage one more time here.
Not quite the knock, but still quite a lot of damage coming. He found as Deftly over the wall, finds that first kill. Zeyzal gets back to safety, and now it's not good for huhi anymore. Flashless, nowhere to run, puts up the shield, but 2 kills in. Cloud9 claim victory in that fight.
Yeah, Cloud9 get a lot in the extended fight there. Very good for them as the initial fight not great, and you can see Hauntzer is level 11 now. He's actually 2 levels above where Nisqy is. So, Nisqy has been missing some critical abilities. In that fight, missing his Q on FBI, meaning he had to go forward and actually dive the tower, to try to actually finish off that kill. That resulted in his death. So let's watch this one more time. Zeyzal, great knockup on both. The Shuriken flip was actually landed, so he's holding on to this to use it out of the Devour, then goes straight through. That is great, but he actually misses that Q as FBI flashes, not able to connect on the ultimate either. So does end up giving his life for that trade, but then as Golden Guardians actually TP in, they're feeling very confident, but Froggen actually joined the fight fairly low. Contractz a little bit separated from the team. Zeyzal goes in with the rest of the squad, definitely able to join over the wall, and Svenskeren, it looked like, actually knocked huhi over the wall there with his ultimate. Has been so good this game at actually managing that ultimate and who the debuff is on, because whoever you are hitting will not get knocked back by it, so he's actually always hitting the right target to make sure he can get the displacement when he needs it.
Well, kind of lots of gaming fans cheering still for Golden Guardians to lock a playoff bye for their favorite team. GGS still in playoff position, and every win means so much. They win a game, they are at least in some kind of tiebreaker, and now we can see again as the fight comes forward, a knockup is found to the bot side, fighting for the river control right now. Contractz, both junglers actually quite low. Contractz does show up, can't for the kill just yet, 1-for-0 now, as they're looking pretty good on the C9 side. The roots come in, they're keeping the bot lane safe. Another trade of 1-for-1. huhi, days are numbered. It looks like it's going really well for Cloud9 now, stretching up in kills. trying to tie the gold record here. 3-1, the team fight.
Yeah, instead of just joining the team fight, Hauntzer actually elected to just try to chase after Deftly. He committed his teleport and his flash, and all he got out of Deftly was the ultimate there. It feels like when you're that strong, you could have actually just joined up into the greater 5v5 and perhaps made a much bigger difference. Instead, he gets kited out, and Cloud9 are the recipients of that. They come out ahead in another fight, really kind of battling back into this game, despite the fact that Hauntzer is so strong.
800 gold difference puts Golden Guardians ahead. You still got 2,000, though, of the lead on Hauntzer. So he's the one with the lead, the rest of the squad picking up scraps.
So watch Hauntzer when he comes in on the bottom of your screen here. He's actually going to teleport in. You know, you have Froggen there. You have the Tahm Kench there. You're set up for the 5v5, but instead of actually joining, you know, with multiple members there to actually fire at, he decides to instead just chase after Deftly. Deftly uses the ultimate. Hauntzer flashes forward. The root does land. He can't get the kill onto Deftly. And in the meantime, his team has lost this team fight. He has now expended both the summoners for nothing. So does get punished quite a bit for that, but Golden Guardians are able to grab themselves a dragon.
And that means they've got the Mountain Trick now for themselves to help answer what was grabbed earlier from C9's bot lane pressure. Cloud versus Mountain now the state. Mid lane turret not going to drop just yet. C9, though, overall did get bottom out of themselves. There has been a trade of turrets in this game, but you got a lot of money on Deftly. 144 CS, very, very high there. 1.5 completed items already.
Yeah, he is looking really, really strong, and looking like he may just be going straight towards an IE as that second item for Essence Fever IE. Tons of AD there. Contractz, you know, perhaps in a bad spot here as Svenskeren is coming down.
Knocked around, can't find the EQ to get away. He's not going to have a way out. Svenskeren claims another kill and puts that game within 200 gold. Hauntzer finds some shots down to the bottom lane, puts that turret to 1/3, but no turret itself falling. It's still GGS Hauntzer kind of versus the world. Most other roles, again, C9 favored here.
Yeah, but it feels like Golden Guardians are playing, you know, at times there pretty brazen. You know, Contractz EQing over the wall without vision. You know, you're not the strong member. It's actually Hauntzer, so you have to make sure that, you know, he is able to join if someone does show up. And when he face checks Licorice with no flag and drag, there's no way out. So giving over that kill does allow Licorice to then hold on at that turret. And Cloud9 pushing on the top side. You know, they are now actually ahead in gold from what was a really rough early game where Golden Guardians got a monumental lead off Hauntzer, but have not been able to play around Hauntzer. The one team fight he tried to join into, he goes off for a 1v1. You know, are not really enabling themselves to get much out of it. But that being said, Hauntzer still is going to be scaling and be so strong later on.
Yes, Hauntzer is still the game gold leader by more than 1,000, almost 2K above even Nisqy and everyone else who's up there. So does feel pretty powerful, but as you mentioned, GGS must play around this Trist. That is the win condition right now with the current set of items.
I mean, he's most of your damage, right? Sure, Viktor is going to be, you know, pretty strong later, but for now, it is so much about this guy. You have the Karma and the Tahm Kench really to protect him. It's a full tank Jarvan to frontline for him, so you want to make sure that you're playing around Hauntzer. And we'll see if they're going to be able to really kind of cash in on that because, you know, Cloud9 do have strong scaling from their marksmen as well, and they're going to have really powerful engage here later on in the game.
Yep. About 1,000 gold away from Infinity Edge is Deftly, as Hauntzer has the money to combine, but right now is a fight breaking out in the mid lane. Nobody can join in time, and he will be able to do so. But first off, it's huhi grabbing a teammate, trying to spin him over the wall, but already you've got Contractz dead. A second kill comes through for C9 already, and again, Cloud9 find a fight without Hauntzer nearby.
Yeah, it looked like Golden Guardians were the one engaging onto that, though. They actually jump onto Svenskeren. Hauntzer isn't there, so you're fighting, you know, down gold. Now you may be able to take down Sven, though.
Almost had the damage. The flash comes out. If he had thought to commit the ult, it might have been enough the damage, but either way, it's at least a flash forced out, and now he jumps forward yet again, trying to find an opening. Doesn't get that one either.
Yeah, but he is grouped with the team now critically. Licorice, though, pushing on that bottom side, and Golden Guardians, you know, at least push Svenskeren out. They do get a flash off of him, so we'll be more vulnerable in this next fight. But it is Cloud9 trying to split the map. Licorice pushing up bot lane. Nisqy shoving up this top lane, and he's looking for Froggen.
Find the shuriken to slow the first half of the ultimate. Second half, oh no, he guts away a little bit, has a shield, running and just barely staying alive. So Froggen keeps his life, but loses the flash forward as top lane's under pressure.
And likely just going to lose the turret. You know, with him not there, with Hauntzer down in that bottom lane, they have no defense. So another tower going the way of Cloud9, and Cloud9 just kind of moving around the map a lot better than Golden Guardians, it feels like, picking the correct fights. And Golden Guardians have not been able to answer it, you know, in these last 5 minutes or so.
Finally, something on the board for Hauntzer. It's been a very long time since he's been doing anything useful but gets a turret at least as recompense.
So here it is again, you know, Golden Guardians, they're actually the ones going in on Svenskeren. You know where Hauntzer is, you know that teleport is available on Licorice, so you know, by the time, again, that Hauntzer has joined the fight is already lost. 2 members go down, Hauntzer not even there to join, so you know, Golden Guardians not picking the correct fights, not playing around their strongest member by far. You know, when your top laner is up 2k gold and your team is down 2k gold, that means you are so much weaker in the 4v4. You should never be looking for those fights. You need to play around Hauntzer.
I think that one was, at least for a little while, a 4v3, as Nisqy wasn't initially there. He was coming down. It's like, okay, we're all 4 mid, 1 top, 1 bot. Now a fight in the mid lane yet again. Big CC on a Hauntzer, followed up there by Svenskeren now as well, though, and it's going to be a pretty big fight. Sorry, it was, of course, Licorice getting the slams there. Getting my top lane was wrong, but that is forcing a lot out as GGS is forced away. Yeah,
Golden Guardians trying to move into that Dragon area. They were grouped up as 5 this time and are able to disengage, but Cloud9 had powerful initial, you know, few seconds of that fight and do shove them out. Cloud9 will maintain this control, though. You know, you can see on the map, they have so much vision in this whole area. Like, this is all Cloud9.
Yeah.
This whole bottom area, 4 pink wards, lots of vision wards, no access to that dragon whatsoever for Golden Guardians. And also, as Hauntzer now, how do you push? You cannot push up at all, knowing that Cloud9 could be in this whole area. They could be by your blue buff, for all you know, waiting to gank you.
Absolutely.
So they are going to need to get some vision back if they want to have Hauntzer in this side lane. But Cloud9, I think, are just doing a very effective job of actually pushing out side lanes, forcing someone to respond to it, then grouping and finding a pick. And a lot of that, the reason that they're doing this more quickly than Golden Guardians is they've had better vision.
Good play by Cloud9. You can see 13-6 in kills. Licorice weathered the storm of a split map and a top lane win, but as soon as that turret fell, Hauntzer could not find his way in anymore, and the team fights better and better and better. C9 eking out those leads. You can see now 2.4 thousand the lead. They have certainly done better across the map. And Licorice himself, 2-0-2. He's actually turned around great.
Exactly, and look at his completed items, right? You're on Death Dance Black Cleaver. Maybe it's not exactly where he'd want to be, but he's looking very, very good. He's going to be extremely strong in these team fights. So, you know, the advantage certainly has not been extending. Licorice has always been able to pick up farm in the side lanes. You know, it has not been Hauntzer denying that from him, again, because you can't push up to his turret and harass him without vision, without knowing where these other members are, or you'll just get run down by Svenskeren or a collapsing Nisqy.
Absolutely. All that said, Hauntzer is still the game gold leader. Rapid Fire Cannon means an easy turret kill, and GGS find their 3rd turret of the game, but Cloud9 already have 4 because the rest of the map is going so well. It still has to come down to Hauntzer somehow carrying a fight, it feels like.
Yeah, and it definitely can. You know, for all we've been talking about how Cloud9 have been playing these last minutes very, very well, you know, in a straight-up 5v5 team fight, if Hauntzer is not able to be jumped upon, if he is not pushed out of the fight immediately or killed, he's going to be potentially just shredding through all of Cloud9.
Sweeper popped. Actually, if they bring... actually, no, Froggen can't blind fire a W. It's actually a targeted ability, so she could stay in there. Jumps out, Nisqy stays safe, doesn't lose any major cooldowns, and attempted to find Hauntzer, and Hauntzer's way too powerful for that one. Now over the wall, look at this, Svenskeren. Svenskeren's gonna find him. This is a lot of damage. No way out. That's gonna be a kill on the Hauntzer. No way out. A shutdown for C9.
Yeah, that is a huge shutdown because they're already pushing bot lane. They're gonna be able to get this tower for free. They take the blue buff potentially here as well, but Froggen, nope.
Okay.
Is able to steal it back, so a nice little win for Froggen there, but the big shutdown. Svenskeren sitting 6-2-6, has been involved in almost everything, and is sitting on over 2,000 gold as well. Cloud9 are just setting up these picks in pockets of vision so intelligently. You know, moving over to this area. Hauntzer did not know that they're there. They're waiting right around the corner. The CC chain is perfect. Knock up the charm, and they burst him down and get this turret off the back of that as well.
150 bonus gold from the leads that Hauntzer had built, and that is all dwindling away as they layer the CC properly. Rocket jump canceled out by the grand entrance as Zeyzal made sure it happened, and it's still C9. I mean, 3,000.
Yeah, exactly. They're up 3,000. Now they're moving all their vision up towards this top side. You know, they had been focusing on the dragon. The dragon is down now. You can see Cloud9 grouped up, pushing in here, you know, getting vision all around Golden Guardians jungle. But Golden Guardians are group 5 members strong, so C9 have to be careful here.
Are they going to find some charms? There gets a couple of knockups there. The spawns coming around over the wall. Hauntzer getting away, but now Licorice in the fix as well. Looking for FBI. Shields come in, staying alive. The re-engage. It's one kill picked up. They've got the backline pretty safe. Nisqy is in there for 2, and he's in there for 3. It's Cloud9 again Cloud9 winning the team fight.
Yeah, they take down 3. They only lose Licorice there. This could be Baron they're pinging on to. It's Svenskeren just about to have his smite back up. Contractz is dead for 25. Hauntzer and huhi, the only members alive. I don't even know if they're going to check on it. We'll see if Spellbook is active. So huhi has swapped to smite, but he has no flash. So he'd have to ult into the pit to try to smite it, but I don't think that's going to happen.
No blast. Gonna have to burn the summoner heal. I'm not even sure the flash is underneath that, so no way through. Nice pickup there. Good zoning in Cloud9. Look at this, 5,500 up. Wearing a Baron buff and resetting.
17-7, Cloud9 in the area, but you know, Golden Guardians actually had all members here, but look at Zeyzal, just CCing everybody. Then Licorice from behind, getting a ton of damage out. Yes, he does not take down FBI, but here comes Nisqy in that backline. Flash, ulti, he stunned 4, it looked like, with that ultimate, and they just get wiped off the map. Cloud9 is just controlling vision better and playing out these team fights so incredibly well. You look at the marksman now, I mean, Deftly is so strong. You know, Deftly is even on gold now. Hauntzer's advantage is completely gone. There's even better, you know, kind of scaling items on Deftly because he has the IE as well as that Essence Reaver. So, you know, he's just straight up the stronger marksman at this point.
And now it's Zeyzal trying to run away, but of course he's got ways over the wall. Presses W, he's safe yet again. Golden Guardians cannot find their way into these fights as items keep coming through. Hauntzer trying to make the desperation play, but he's got to be careful because he might be attacked yet again. Huhi finds himself a little bit of something. Here's the re-engage, though. The damage is there. Already FBI is gone, and Zeyzal back to safety. Now the chase in as Licorice wants a little bit more, looking for Hauntzer. Nisqy coming by as well, and now it's the team just split up. Huhi drops now. It's 3 kills yet again. Cloud9 cannot lose fight.
I think this is game. I actually think they could end off this. 44 seconds on Hauntzer's death. They are pushing mid lane with the Baron buff. Cloud9 have dominated the last 10 minutes of this game, and they are looking to stay alive for the bye.
Absolutely beautiful, staying within the game of Counter Logic Gaming, and this result, it's good news for Clutch fans, good news for Under Thieves fans. The 7th place teams looking to make their way into playoffs. Both Optic and GGS have lost today, which makes that race all the closer as the turrets are going down.
Yeah, they're going for triple inhib instead. They make the call not to try to end it just now, but they are trying to deal game-ending damage here potentially.
Yeah.
Walking over for this final inhibitor.
This game is about 90-10 right now, as the last inhib will just barely stay alive. Wave clear for FBI and the rest of Golden Guardians, but C9 not stopping. 80 seconds of the Baron buff still. They can push for more. Nisqy, big damage to the back line. Does get knocked up, but not revealed for anything. As now we get CC out of Zeyzal. You get damage to the back line. Nisqy unstoppable. Finds that first kill. Third inhibitor's gone now as well. Svenskeren buys the time. Into the front line is Licorice, just kiting back and pushing GGS away. Low health bars. Golden Guardians cannot find these fights.
Yeah, they definitely can't. Nisqy going back to base, but he has teleport, so he could actually rejoin. You know, Deftly could even base and rejoin if they want. Cloud9 have a lot of gold to spend, but they're trying to end with the Baron, but 50 seconds. Super is going to be pouring in across the map. The next wave you see on this mini-map here.
I mean, they're already in.
6 supers, but
they're on side this. They're pushing right now out of Nexus turrets themselves. 5v4 looking at huhi. Licorice pushed back. Gets a shield yet again, withstands the explosive charge. Now the Nexus is open. It's still 5v4. 2 seconds on Contractz. He's respawning now, so now it's the attempt. 5v5. This is the moment. GGS must take a fight. Deftly at half health. Looking forward to Zeyzal. Doesn't find that one either. Ult's down. Svenskeren forward. Push back now as well. GGS, I think, still must find the re-engage, but they can't find it. There's just so many minions inside the base that they have to stop and defend their own Nexus. C9 gonna stay. They've got the extra man. It's a 6v5. It's a 7v5. There's so many minions there. The Baron buff still 8 seconds on. Looking to push forward on Nexus itself.
Definitely
looking to stay in the race. GA pop. Looking in the backline as Nisqy pops the stopwatch. They've got the damage. They've got the kills. Cloud9's got the team fights, and they've got the Nexus staying alive for the playoff bye.
What an exciting end to that game. Cloud9 moving to 11-6. 1 game back of CLG, but they will have their chance tomorrow. And Golden Guardians now falling here. Optic defeated as well. Both these teams are going to be 8-9, I do believe. So, you know, losing half a game to a couple teams that still have yet to play. Clutch and 100 Thieves are sitting at 7 wins.
Yep.
They have a chance now to tie up with these teams, and the playoff chances become a little bit more dicey now here for the Golden Guardians.
1 win for those squads, ties for 6th, actually technically ties for 5th, as that playoff race heats up in the last week of the regular season. Deftly on the line for Cloud9, 8-1-11. Bot lane was where C9 put their pressure. He rewarded them with a 19 KDA performance, highest KDA on the team. Zeyzal has been great for a long time, 0-2-23 on the Rakan. He found so many good fights for the squad, whether they're the engage or the counter-engage, to keep things alive when it was Golden Guardians pulling the trigger. And sadly for GGS, that first pick Tristana, it won lane, but it did not win game.
No, it definitely didn't. But I mean, it is partially on Hauntzer, but it's partially on the whole team, right? Like, you had a monumental advantage on a hyperscaling champion that you built your comp around, and then you're fighting away from it. You're not grouping up. Like, they did not play to their win condition whatsoever with a huge lead. And that is going to be a game that Golden Guardians are going to be watching back and kicking themselves, because that, I think, was their game to lose. And and they completely threw it away. But I also have to give so much credit to Svenskeren. I think he played out of his mind. He got, what, 5 bans thrown towards him? The Jarvan goes the other way, so you're way down in the priority, and he made it happen. He was constantly pulling off ganks, constantly finding engages.
Yeah, beautiful game, absolutely, for the C9 jungler, but now Deftly is on stage with the triumphant bot laner to hear more about that win.
Thanks, guys. Definitely congratulations on the win. I especially loved that final TP in. You're like, forget the Nexus. Let's just try to pick up the kills. Earlier today, I asked you about playing against Golden Guardians, and you said, well, I just want to focus on my own performance. I just want to play my own, play my best game. I don't buy it. Beating Golden Guardians, your old team, and in that fashion, that had to have felt good.
Yeah, it definitely felt good, like, beating Golden Guardians, since that was my old team. But at the same time, it felt good, like, playing with this new C9 team and also playing with, like, all my new teammates and being able to win. Especially after I lost last week, I felt really remorseful, I guess, because I felt like the game was really on me and I should have performed a lot better. And I'm really glad we could just pull out the win today, especially against my old team.
And there were complete contrast differences from your first game and your game here today. So what changed?
I think going into today's match, we had a way better understanding of like what the pick ban would look like, and also, yeah, our practice resembled a lot like stage. So yeah, and on top of that, last week was also my first week on the team, so now I have a little more time to like mesh with all the players and figure out like how they like to play and stuff like that. So yeah, I think as time goes on, we'll be even better.
And you are joining a new team with Cloud9, but one of the things that I thought was fun was you're also having a reunion with Zeyzal, someone that you played with in the Challenger series. So what's it like being back on a team with him and in the bot lane?
Yeah, with both Zeyzal and Licorice, I played with them, I think 2 years ago on United. And even before then, we played on Cloud9 Challengers like sub-squad together. And honestly, it feels like nothing's changed. Like they're the exact same people, and it feels like our friendship hasn't changed at all. And yeah, it's just great times.
And with this win, C9 is still in contention for that playoff bye, but kind of looking to you, we talked to Reaper a few weeks ago, and he said that when he put you in, he was considering you for one of the roles of the 7-man roster. So how are you trying to prove yourself, or what's your kind of path in trying to prove yourself that you are worth that spot?
Well, I definitely haven't had the greatest split this split, but I'm trying to redeem myself and prove that like I am a good player and I can be like the thing C9 needs. So I think as long as I just keep performing and really putting out my best, I'm sure that I can be that 7-man.
And do we know if you're in tomorrow yet?
Not sure. We'll have to see how Reaper feels. Yeah.
All right. Well, best of luck to you and the team for that game tomorrow, and congratulations again on the win. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Deftly. Cloud9 still in the hunt for the playoff bye with that victory, and we've brought head coach of Optic Zabutin onto the desk to help us break down this one and the one to follow. But Cloud9 here, like I said, still alive. The win itself, though, didn't necessarily come that easily, and as Zeyzal said, he had some choice criticisms for Golden Guardians in the fact that they were positioned well to win that game and threw it away.
I mean, they were positioned well, but I also think that Golden Guardians has literally never played this way. This is the first time we see them, first of all, try to incorporate Hauntzer into the team as a hyper carry, which is already bizarre because this is the second time we've seen Tristana in the top lane. And then the bottom lane for FBI playing the Viktor. You found what worked last week. This is the same thing that these teams that find success and then they just get off it right the next time. It's kind of fitting, but
so we didn't like it.
What do you think about it?
So maybe we didn't like it, but let's talk about some of the merits of the draft, or let's at least let's kind of understand the draft and the purpose of it.
So the first thing that when I watched this draft from Golden Guardians, I think that they were super hype on the Tristana train, right? Picking it very early, trying to have this hyper carry in the top side that was actually fumbled by the early game of C9. So they had a window maybe to win this game. But if you look at the champions that C9 has, it's really hard. So GGS opts for wave clearing bot side with a Tahm Kench and a Viktor. So Viktor's role is pretty much just to wave clear, right? So nothing's should happen on the bot side of the map, and they should try to use this Tristana as much as they can. But later on the game, if this Akali is not below like 0-7 something, Akali just matches Tristana and kills her. So they have no win condition from the draft, pretty much. It's like Tristana is 12-0, and it's a scream, and it wins. But most of the time, it's just not going to win because Akali is going to match a Tristana on side. Tristana is going to feel pressure, then the rest of the map can just clear waves and do nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the comp has like an idea of what it wants to do, where you have scaling bot lane mage, you have supportive tools around it with Tahm Kench and Karma, and the Trish should get ahead, so it'll be positioned to become a late game threat. But like you're saying, the Akali was first pick, so you knew what you were signing up for when you started drafting this. And it's one of those times where it's like, it's a fine comp, but probably not in this situation.
Interesting. Okay, so we already know that, yes, it's an uphill battle for Golden Guardians with this draft, but you did mention the idea that C9 funneled some gold directly into that Tristana very early on, and so there was a window, perhaps, for Golden Guardians to win this game.
Yeah, and all things considered, Svenskeren's mostly doing the right thing. He was going for a blue buff invade, and his bot lane should hopefully be able to stop them from getting in there, but they kind of back off pretty far.
Yeah, so when the play starts, Svenskeren has the option to exit toward his bot side, who's first to move. But if you look at it, huhi actually walks past the Xayah Rakan, and Deftly doesn't punish him for that. And on the top of that, the Jarvan actually misses combo. So there was no threat on Svenskeren, who could just have exited towards the bot side and move with the 3 and actually even maybe kill one of the bot lane of GGS. But instead of that, the bot lane of GGS was able to move and sandwich Svenskeren, and this triggered the play where Hauntzer gets 2 kills.
You know, after watching that, I just kind of rethought about the draft a little bit more, and I find myself wondering, why Froggen on Karma? You know, this is a guy that's been such a pivotal player for Golden Guardians that I find that his impact on that kind of champion is really not what's been working for Golden Guardians in the last few weeks.
And on top, things that don't work for Golden Guardians, playing around topside, Hauntzer is one of the lowest jungle proximities in the league, and so if you watch these replays roll out, like, count how many were in the top lane.
Oh, look at this.
Well, yeah, he's normally incredibly self-sufficient.
This is huge because Tristana, instead of joining up with the team and utilizing their resources, goes on the Xayah. You know, worst case scenario, you join that fight and then you just ulti Xayah away. That's one of the perks of Trist. You can actually create one-man advantages by punting the other guy out of the fight. And I think had he been involved in that, that could have been a different fight for Golden Guardians.
I mean, Hauntzer definitely could have played that fight better. Like you said, there were some low health targets in the clump. But outside that, like, just in terms of where these fights are even occurring on the map is completely wrong to me, where you have this hyper-fed Tristana. She's your main win condition. She got ahead. Go play around that. Yes, C9 keeps throwing resources down to the bot side, but you don't need to counter their attempts. You can go to the other side of the map and try and go split map as opposed to keep getting dove over and over and losing these fights.
But on top of that, C9 had the Zhao, and it's a champion that's really hard for any type of ranged champion, right? It's overall how its kit is made. So even forcing something on side against like the 2v2, Aatrox Zhao into Tristana Jarvan is going to feel bad no matter what. And Jarvan cannot force a play on Akali either way. So this Jarvan, what can this Jarvan do? Punish a Xayah Rakan, which is very slippery? No, not really. Punish the Akali? Not much. So they have no play. Like they have a Jarvan, they want to press R, and if they press R in the group, there is an Aatrox ready there to actually smash them.
And I think you saw a lot of those lack of options that you're talking about there, Zabatine, in that replay role, where essentially every single one of those replays, barring the very first one, was a C9, initiated replay because they were the ones with the tools. So even from a gold deficit, they got to pick the fights, which is not generally something we talk about that often in a game of League of Legends.
And they didn't play them mechanically great. Like, if you go back and watch Nisqy, there are a number of times he could have done things a little different on the Akali, a little cleaner.
All right, he's not the shy mark. What are you
going to bring it up.
You're just like in a total flaming mood today.
I'm just saying the draft advantage that Zab is talking about was huge because they didn't even need to play that well to claw their way back into a game that started pretty disastrously.
Well put, well put. Another fun thing to note here in this game, C9 Zeyzal had 23 assists in this game. It's the most of any player in the LCS this split in a single game. And so good on him for that. Throw a little praise his way. C9, again, as we've referenced, is still very much in the hunt for that playoff bye, but they are not in control. If CLG wins out tomorrow, then they will go ahead and take the bye. C9 goes up against you guys tomorrow in our first game of the day. How are you feeling about that matchup, regardless of knowing whether or not Nisqy or Deftly will be in the lineup?
I feel like C9, and like any other team in an LCS, has this perk of being really, really fast on the engage and fighting you. So if you're not ready to fight against C9, usually you just lose. You see a lot of games where the other team has the lead against C9, and they have the position, like for instance on the Drake, and instead of pulling the trigger and killing C9, they just go back and back and back until C9 just pull the trigger on them and they win the objective. I think the biggest thing with C9 is always marking Zeyzal. Is extremely good at creating like funny openings in enemy defenses. You've seen it like today with Rakan. So I think that's a big thing. And they have as well a very different way of drafting. And like other teams, they have their own thing. They just look at their own win condition and they play the draft to the fullest instead of looking at, oh, I'm going to try to counter Optic. They come with a very clear idea what they want to do.
I love calling out Zeyzal specifically. I'm going to plug him even a little bit more. I've watched his stream a number of times, and I love the way he talks out his thought process about what is happening, what should be happening, and what options are available to him. So if you want to learn something about macro in League of Legends, check him out. Coming up, Clutch Gaming and 100 Thieves challenge one another with the playoff spots on the line. See who comes out on top when we return.
He can EQ. He's going to flash, actually. Flash for the flashless. That's going to be a kill easily. First blood comes through.
No flash Akali, no flash Akali. I can ulti behind too. Yeah, go, boys, go. Aatrox dead. Xayah.
Over the wall, finds that first kill. Zeyzal gets back to safety, and now it's not good for huhi anymore. Flashless, nowhere to run, puts up the shield, but 2 kills in Cloud9.
We can play zoned by Trist. Look at Viktor. Viktor's dead. Tahm when he comes out when he's out. Jarvan. I'm going at Karma, running at him. I'm blocking Karma.
It's one kill picked up. They've got the backline pretty safe. But Nisqy is in there for 2, and he's in there for 3.
and then just hit.
I got kill him. In. No!
I'm a Jarvan.
You guys let me die.
It's time for the Fountain Fury Foot Race. Who will come out on top? The chasing chicken, the quickest catfish, or a delivery driver? And they're off!
I refuse to trouble myself with charlatans.
Back off.
I came to chew bubblegum and kick butt, and I'm more like a bug. Who's still standing? Did we win yet?
A great product can define the present, but it takes the unprecedented to define the future. To go beyond what's next and change the world of gaming. To make history, break ground, and force the universe to take notice. The world's most powerful and most upgradable gaming laptop with Intel Core processors, the Area 51M, defines the future of gaming.